Почитувани гледачи, добро вечер. Добре дојдовте во уште едно издание на Јади Бурек, а вечерва имам особена чест и задоволство да го поздравам мојот драг пријател и се надевам и натаму чест гостин, господинот Џејсон Мико. Hello, Mr. Џејсон. Welcome to my show.
Janko, it is a pleasure to be here. Srećan Božić, srećna Nova godina.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you, and to you as well.
So, are we going to synchronize our calendars to celebrate together?
No,
Why not?
Well, first of all, that's a good question. I defer to the Macedonian Orthodox Church, of which I am a member, as to if they want to keep the calendar with January 7 as Christmas or go to December 25. I get to celebrate 2 Christmases with my family in Arizona on the 25th of December, and then I get to come here and celebrate with my Macedonian family.
Damn good answer. That's a damn good answer. I like it.
All right.
3 Christmas in 3 months. There is some other religion.
What is the one on Seinfeld? Festivus. Festivus, yes.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Every Sunday is a Christmas and it's Easter.
Absolutely. So, yeah.
Okay. On my podcast, I was talking about because our Protestant church here, which is in very good relation with Orthodox Church, asking, come on, let's change the calendar and celebrate everybody all together. I understand some churches, Orthodox churches, do change, but I tell them this, too much separation, segregation in our society on every question, leftist, rightist, name, identity, everything. If the believers, if the Macedonian Orthodox believers, Macedonian people agree together, I have no problem. But if you made them, that change, it will be another segregation or separation or confrontation in the society, like for the name.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. I cannot speculate. Maybe changing of the name have to happen with us, maybe other generation. But all the people of Macedonia, if they say, okay, we agree to this. Everybody didn't agree to this. Now we have a problem which is going bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
What's your opinion about that?
Two things. First of all,
things.
So the secular and the sacred. Okay, so the name issue is the secular, the sacred is Christmas. I find it fascinating. I'm a student of history. And
I didn't know that.
I mean, minor. It's a pastime. It's an interest of mine.
I'm from astronomy.
Well, yeah, it's a little bit. But here's the funny thing about Christmas and the way we celebrate, whether it's the 25th of December or the 7th of January. If you look at history, if you look at the historical record, if you look at the sources from 2,000 years ago, Christ was probably born in the springtime. And there's lots of reasons for that. You talk about the shepherds in the fields with their flocks by night. That's in the script. That's in the book of Luca. They couldn't have been out in the winter with their flocks by night. They were probably out in the spring with the small sheep, the lambs. And there's lots of other things that point to probably it was springtime because it was just before Passover. Passover is in the springtime. So it really doesn't, we probably both got it wrong, both on the Orthodox side and the Catholic Protestant side. So it doesn't really matter. What matters is that we celebrate the birth of Christ, our Lord and Savior. So
if somebody discusses with you, just remind him that in October is Octo, 8th month of the year.
Yes.
December, Deca, the 10th month of the year. And it's very logic that the celebrating in the new year is when is, how do you call where the newly married? We call mladenci. when
Newlyweds.
we have in our Orthodox Church tradition celebrating Mladenci about 21st of March, and it's starting of the
New year.
New Year,
Yeah,
because
boy.
they're starting at the end of winter and starting of new
Right.
life. So it's very logic, but
Yeah.
never
yeah.
mind.
So anyway, so what the important thing is that we celebrate Christmas whenever it is. So that's on the sacred. On the secular, to your point about the name issue, look, if the majority of the Macedonian people had said in a legitimate referendum,
Okay.
yeah, we agree to the name change. That's the will of the people. That's what the people would have decided. That is John Locke, the Lockean consent of the governed, to allow the people to make their decisions. That's what, our friends in the State Department and the European Union always talk about. If that had happened, who am I to say anything, If we might disagree with it, but if the majority of Macedonians had said, yes, we want to change the name, but they didn't, and the referendum didn't even succeed, it failed. It didn't even meet the threshold to be a legitimate referendum. And then the government, of course, was shocked, and then 3 days later, that was September 30, 2018, the government went ahead and said, it doesn't matter, we don't care what the people think. You're the plebeians, the proletariat. We're going to go ahead and do it anyway. And that's what creates these divisions, is that when you have an elite at the top, whether it's in Macedonia or America, that is pushing their views down on everybody else and not allowing the people to have their voice heard, that's when you create these divisions that we're talking about.
We have a major flaw in our kako se vikaš, Ustav?
Law.
Constitution.
Constitution, yeah.
We don't have right to bear arms. That's why I like America. Because
Second Amendment.
Second Amendment, we need the Second Amendment because government will fear one way or another. I think that a long time ago, United States would have become a totalitarianistic state if the people is open-minded, self-minded, and legitimately bear arms. So it's very difficult to put a pressure on a people.
Yeah.
That's the reason why whatever thing happens in the world and what will happen, it's very important to me what happened in United States, for good and for worse. But we will talk about that later. About Macedonia.
Yes.
You're a proven friend, one of the rarest in the world. It's very sad for me. Why don't we have such a good friends for Macedonia like yourself? You live in United States. Do you have friends and apologists of Macedonia like yourself?
You do.
Yes?
Do. Yeah. Macedonia has many friends around the world, and including in the United States. I'll just give you one example. I met somebody new this past week just before Christmas. I'm not going to say his name or anything else. I'm just going to tell you that he's a legitimate cowboy from Boise, Idaho.
Marlboro Man.
He's a cowboy. He does. I didn't even know this word exists. It's called rodeoing, meaning he goes out and bucks broncos. He rides horses. He rides bulls. He ropes them. And he is here because he's a friend of Macedonia. I asked him, I said, this is the question I normally get asked from people. I say, why are you here? You're a guy from the deserts of Arizona. What are you doing here? And that's the question people ask me. So I got to ask him, you're a cowboy from Idaho. Why are you here? And it's because when he was younger, he fell in love with history. And he started by watching some, the sword and sandal flicks, Alexander, the film by Oliver Stone, right, and others like that. And then he just started getting into history. At the same time, his family had some land in Idaho, and they had horses, and he started learning how to ride horses, and he loved it. It was a sport that he could do, and he just started getting into that. So this weird combination of both following history and riding horses, bucking broncos, and he came here in 2018 or 19, he says, for his first trip. Didn't know anybody. And now he comes back and he just knows people. And he's a Twitter warrior. Sorry, He's an ex-warrior on the social media defending Macedonia.
Please send me a link.
Okay, I will. Yes.
We communicate on X, and
yes.
I want to communicate with the guy.
Yeah, but totally strange, out of the blue. I mean, and he's just one person. But Macedonia has many friends in America, around the world, and sometimes you have to look for them. You know, I'm more vocal out there. I'm on your show. Our first time together, I think, was in 2006 when Roxy Music came to Macedonia. You remember that? That was a fun one. It's been almost 20 years. So, but yeah, I'm vocal and I'm out there. But there are lots and lots of friends in Macedonia that are not so vocal and behind the scenes. But they're supporting, they're loving on Macedonia.
You know, I think that Macedonia is, at this moment, Macedonia is out there in the people like you, in our diaspora, our immigrants. Macedonia is not present at this moment in Macedonia. We are very disappointed in our country because of the government. We are very disappointed in all it happens, people running from here. And I think, like the TV show, Good Night Macedonia, wherever you are. But it's very good to hear that Macedonia, we will survive, but not here. Not here, and future is not bright if you're rational, not emotional. If emotional, we will survive, yes, we will, but reality on the field is very, very depressing. It's very, very worrying. You know the history, Balkan Wars.
Fairly well.
Yeah, I mean, there is the point of the existence. Why is our existence is on the verge of disappearing? Macedonia, like a country, will not disappear, but the people slowly erase themselves of here. Bulgaria, first Greece, then Bulgaria. I think that Serbia and Albania just silent for the moment. Historically, they were never silent about this territory. I don't know what future will bring, but I'm not optimistic. Tomorrow, they will say, okay, your country is bankrupt, your country doesn't work, so somebody will have to manage this. Administrators. We have administrators. In 1941, Bulgaria take Macedonia to administrate. They didn't occupy, they administrate. Who said that will be never happen again?
Right. Yeah. You know, you just said something that was interesting to me. You said, I'm not optimistic. And this fascinates me because I think there's a difference between optimism and hope. I prefer hope over optimism. and the reason is because I think hope is deeper, it's older, it has more meaning. Hope requires courage, it's a virtue. It requires personal agency and actually going out there and doing something. Optimism is this happy feeling that things are going to be okay.
No.
That's optimism.
Optimism is practical. How the things work. I cannot cross the road because there is no road. So I cannot be optimistic. I cannot leave it on hope because it's a practical problem, Џејсон.
It is a practical problem, but hope required, because you see that broken road or that broken bridge, hope says, okay, I have the courage to do something about it.
That's the hope.
Yeah.
To move yourself.
Yes.
And to rebuild the bridge.
Right.
Or the road.
Right.
Not to cry.
Right. And not to just sit back and fold your arms and say, oh, it's going to be better,
we are
another rocky.
Christians, and we accepted our faith, and we accepted to be killed, beaten, but doesn't mean when you're a Christian to be passive. Christianity is active, proactive, to do something about it.
Right.
Every day, one small brave step forward.
Yes.
Not to be aggressive, but to do something, to change. And we change history, we change civilization.
Right.
So at this moment, you know, see, I don't know how to pronounce Sveti Apostol Pavle,
Oh, St. Paul.
St. Paul. When they say to their Christians before they go to the arena to be eaten by the lions, they were the greatest believers and hopers. And they were very, very, very afraid of the moment. I watched the TV movie about him when he was in jail and he was writing his poslania. And he told them, do not afraid, not to be brave, but do not afraid. It will be quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very difficult.
Yeah.
Ĝeјson.
Oh, I agree.
Very difficult to accept the pain. Even the Christ cry with the
tears
bloody
of blood.
tears.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's life is not easy. Life is not fair. Life is not. But you have to be proactive. So if I cannot make good change here, should I stay in this concentration camp or take my family and prosper somewhere else? So many Macedonians in Australia, United States, they blissful, they rise, they celebrate their culture more freely in United States than here. So what to think? To live, to stay, to fight? What is the best thing to do for my country and for my family?
That's a great question. I think it depends on each individual to make that decision for himself or herself.
There is no right or wrong?
No, I think it really depends, because I'll tell you a couple of things. Number one, I know Macedonians that have gone abroad and then they've come back.
Yes.
I know Macedonians that have been born abroad, so they're ethnic Macedonian. They've been born overseas and they've come back. I know Macedonians that are born here and they go abroad. I know all of them. I've heard all their stories. And
what is your conclusion?
My conclusion is that no matter where they go, where they are, Macedonia is always in their heart and their mind and their soul, and they're trying to pass it on to their children and their children's children, their grandchildren. And all of that I find is good. Now, I get from a practical sense the idea that there's a brain drain here, and there is. But it's not just Macedonia, it's the whole region. And there's plenty of other countries around the world where you see the brain drain. I mean, look at my southern border right now in America. How many people
we will
are...
discuss that.
Okay,
Captain.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there people are fleeing countries where there is poverty, where there is war, where there's disease, where there is no vision. And the book of Psalms says, where there is no vision, the people perish. So bringing it back to Macedonia, is there a vision here among the leaders? Which brings up another question. Are there leaders here? I'm not so sure there are, but before you get depressed, I look around the world and I don't see any leaders either. So that's a whole nother subject that we can discuss. But to your original question about, what should people be doing? Again, I think it just really depends. There's no reason why you cannot go abroad and still support Macedonia, still support Macedonians. Because I see that happening as well. So, but sometimes you just have to look for these stories. There's good news stories all around.
Interesting. Let me ask you something else about it. What is your opinion? We see what happened in Macedonia. Mm-hmm. The criminal, stealing, killing. I don't know how we function because there is no investigation. There is no new factories. There is no new everything. What is we standing for is from 10 years ago. Nothing new happened. Nothing built. No roads. Factories for electric cars. We give still money.
There's Bechtel.
Yeah. Yeah, the
Back to
corridor.
Oron.
We give almost $200 million, and there is no one nail
Mhm,
on the ground.
mhm.
So, killing Vanya today,
Mm.
2-year kid is killed. So everything is because there is no punishment for the criminals, and everything this happened. We receive this. We see this. We comment on this. Maybe on Balkans, couple of countries, Serbians also. Very interesting what happened, and they act like friends for now. But do the world see what happened in Macedonia? What kind of criminal derogation of society, or we are just part of the global system of falling down?
I mean, the truth is, most people don't pay attention. Most people around the world don't pay attention to Macedonia.
Of course.
But most people around the world don't pay attention to Estonia or Hungary or Burkina Faso or Venezuela or South Africa. That's just a fact of life. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. The issue of the criminality and all that, I mean, I've been quite critical of the United States government in Macedonia over these past many, many years.
Yes, yeah.
On the flip side, it's true that the government of my government, through USAID and other groups, has poured a lot of money in here for improving the rule of law and things of that nature. What have we, the American taxpayers, got in improving the rule of law? Very little for our return,
So
it seems.
it was the same words from your ambassador here. We invest a lot of money to improve the
Judiciary, rule of
judicial,
law, etc.
and there is no result.
Yeah.
And I answered to her on my Facebook profile. So you invested in the criminals? You know who you protected? You know who you put it on the power? There was incapable criminals which was protected by you. So why you are suddenly surprised by all of this?
But they're not surprised. That's just, they have to say that publicly.
Damn you. Sorry.
No,
Sorry.
this is real
Yeah,
politics.
this is the answer which
Yeah.
shut me down,
Yeah.
cut me
Yeah.
2 meters underground. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Next. Exactly. Right. Yeah. But ultimately, I think it's worth pointing out that it's within the power of Macedonians to do something about what's going on in Macedonia.
Okay.
Ultimately, it is not only do you have the power to do it, but it's your responsibility at the end of the day. So the Americans can come in here, the Europeans can come here, others can come here and spend money on the rule of law and judiciary and all these other projects, etc. But the Macedonians have to want it and they have to do it. But that goes back to what I said earlier about leadership
Okay.
and about vision. I believe there are leaders here with a vision, a good vision, a positive vision, a hopeful vision for Macedonia. Now, why are they not rising to the surface? Why don't they want to run, for office and things like that? Because ultimately, let's be honest, you have a parliamentary system here. We have a presidential republic in America. People have to stand up and say, yes, I want to run for office and then run for office, etc. But we all know what that's like these days, whether it's in the United States or Macedonia or anywhere else. It's a brutal, brutal system of running for office, and it requires a lot of sacrifice. And there are good people that are leaders that don't want to run for political office because they don't want to put their families through that. I get that. But we need those people. And some of them will come up, some of them will rise to the surface, I think.
What is your opinion? I will tell my opinion that they favorite one kind of Albanian wing here in Macedonia to rule them all. Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Mr. Ahmeti rule everybody and everything. We don't rule. And they have very big support from European Union, from United States. I understand Albanians are needed because they're very strong on the ground. They control all of the people, all of the region, and they're very prepared to go in war with Serbia. Serbia is the problem for United States and their close relation with Russia. And we are not so much prepared to listen to American interests to go to confront with Serbia, etc., etc. We have traditional friendship, etc. But that's my opinion. I want your opinion why they favorite the Dui and the Ahmeti so much, because in the past we saw some Albanian leaders rise and fall, and they come. That is very democratic. That is very good. But we, for 20 years, there is no changes.
Exactly.
And everything they do, that is protected, covered.
Yeah.
And our institution, our politician, are very afraid. That I will say it loud and clear. People who call me in my show, they are brave to say. But everybody who is on a political scene, everybody who is in business, everybody who is in institution, they are afraid of United States embassy and the ambassador, what they will say, who they will protect, and they read their between lines what to do. They don't work according to law. They don't work according to sense. They work according to. He said, "Okay, he photographed with Grubi. We don't touch Grubi."
Yeah.
So we have terroristic attack on a government institution, one of the crucial for the safety of the whole Macedonian sky. That is a terroristic attack.
Absolutely.
If the entering in the Sobranie is terroristic attack, this is a 10 times worse. Nothing.
Well,
everything is okay.
Yes.
Come on, everybody. Was the so
Yeah.
much nervous? Come on,
Yeah.
it was a family matters.
Right.
Jason, come on, Jason.
Yeah. Couple of things. First, bigger picture. You have a two-tiered system of justice in Macedonia. We have a two-tiered system of justice in the United States of America. We put the January 6th insurrectionists, rioters, whatever you want to call them, behind bars. And yet there are all kinds of people right now protesting Israel's defense of itself, going into the U.S. Congress, going into state houses, doing all kinds of horrible things, and they're not going to be arrested by the Justice Department. We have, again, I know we'll get into this, our southern border, people coming over, tens of thousands of every day. Not more than 100 kilometers from where I live, there's 10,000 people not right there, but 5,000 people coming in every day, illegal immigrants, going all over. The Justice Department is doing nothing to stop that. So we have a two-tiered, Hunter Biden. We can talk about that more. We have a two-tiered system of justice in the United States. You have a two-tiered system of justice here, number one. Number two, Ali Ahmeti is a terrorist. He was born out of a terrorist organization that he created. He is a poisonous, toxic individual. Artan Grubi is somebody who was groomed by European Union institutions.
Dutch embassy.
The Dutch embassy primarily among them, yes. The Albanian parties in Macedonia, and I've got nearly 3 decades of institutional knowledge about the various parties here in Macedonia. In my opinion, the ethnic Albanian parties in Macedonia have always been cult of personality parties. Sirisa and Vumro, like them or hate them, they have more or less, or maybe had is the right word, ideologies. Generally, Sirisa was on the left, Vumro's on the right in terms of what they believe in terms of the economy, rule of law, freedom of rights, freedom of expression, etc. The Albanian parties have always been cult of personality. It's all about a leader. And when the leader goes, the party falls apart. Think of Arben Xhaferi. DPA was the biggest ethnic Albanian party in Macedonia.
And Xhaferi was very smart and good politician for me.
Yeah. He passed away. What happened to the party? Nothing. What's Mindu Thaci doing as the head of the party now?
Yeah.
Emir Meri,
Yeah,
PDP.
you're right.
He died. Nothing. I mean, the party fell apart. It will be this. It will probably be the same with Dewey, except for the fact that they've had 22 years now of growing as a institutional organization. I still predict that when Ali Ahmeti leaves the scene, however he leaves the scene, Dewey will either fall apart or at the very least split up into 2 or 3 different factions.
Mhm.
We've already seen that in the past several years of how internally Dewey wants to split up. But again, it's because the ethnic Albanian parties in Macedonia are based on personality. They're not based on ideology. They're not based on how many ethnic Albanian parties here in Macedonia, you look at their platform, how many have said, you know what, here's what we need to do. We need foreign investment. We need to create conditions in Macedonia that encourage domestic investment. Rule of law.
They are proud
free speech.
to follow the leader.
Exactly. So
that is
yeah.
everything.
Right.
But we Macedonians also want that. We admire Vladimir Putin.
Mhm.
We admire Orban
Mhm.
because they're strong personality.
Mhm.
They do things. Vucic also,
Mhm.
Chinese president,
Mhm.
because they're strong personality. They're strong politician.
Mhm.
But you know what is the problem? And I want your opinion about that. The problem with the strong personality, even with Ali Ahmeti, they cannot make a system to work for itself to continue their work.
Right.
So
Once they're
United States, since Biden, I think it's very, very bad. But United States, is it Kennedy? Is it Ford? Is it Carter? Is it the system function?
Mhm.
Italy, for 50 years, they have 54 governments. Now it's more. I said till 1990s. But the country function.
Mhm.
Putin is super. But what will succeed after Putin?
Mhm.
What will happen? The problem with the strong politician and for strong leader is they cannot arise successor.
Mhm. Right.
So what's after that? Louis, after me, flood?
Yeah. Good question. I mean,
So I like system like United States, even weaker politician, but society stays strong.
Yeah.
We have a very good politician, Nikola Gruevski, but all his mistakes, now we pay them.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. One of the best leaders of Macedonia ever.
Mhm.
But we have price.
Mhm.
He was so convinced that he is strong because people are with him. Yes, people, but he lose himself in a geostrategic, in local, etc. Strong about the pressure about the name and everything. He's 90% he was right, but those 10% made the world go against him and to hold on. So there was no successor for now. Christian Mickowski is rising, and he need years of tough job to be an institution, to be a very tough job. Maybe Christian Mickowski is not the best, but he survived all these years. So for me, it's okay.
Yeah.
I support. You survive for 8 years, how long they are on. So that's a good recruitment for this. So we talk about system, strong leader or strong system.
Let me give you a third way: strong institutions. So here's the thing. This is the way I look at it. So you've got between the government on one end and the family, the basic unit of our life as human beings on the other end. Everything in between are institutions.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So you've got first and foremost, I think, the church or other faith institutions. Maybe it's in Islamic society, Jewish society, Buddhist, Confucian, etc. You got faith institutions. You've got educational institutions. You've got business. You've got voluntary organizations, the NGOs. And when I say NGOs, I don't mean that as a bad word. I mean legitimate, good, non-governmental organizations, voluntary organizations that are doing things that government cannot and should not be doing. They're doing those things that are necessary in society to make society not just function, but prosper. So all of these institutions between, we call them mediating institutions between the government and the family, all of those need to be strong. And they need to be formative, not performative.
What do you mean by strong?
Strong is that they need to be resilient. They need to not be beholden to the government.
We are kidnapped country. All our institutions is under control of the one minority party.
Yeah. But again, that depends. I think that really it depends on, not just for Macedonia as well, but for any society. If the people want to break that hold that you were talking about, if the people want to increase the strength of the institutions, it's up to them. They can do it. They just have to stand up and start doing it.
Radicalization?
No, not radicalization, but just I'm not sure what the right word is.
Okay. Take your time.
Yeah.
Take your time.
So yeah.
So brainstorming.
Yeah. So
improvising.
Yeah. Exactly.
Speculating. Please.
Yeah. So that's one thing. But let me take a step back and a bigger picture type thing. The system that we have in the West, and Macedonia is a part of the West. So this idea of democracy and capitalism combined together, okay? And when I say democracy, it could be a Macedonian parliamentary system, it can be the presidential republic system we have in the US, it could be something else, whatever, etc. Combined with capitalism. Capitalism, I think, well, number one, capitalism is not a dirty word. Capitalism is the best way to bring the most people up out of poverty that any economic system has ever created anywhere.
Strongly agree. Yeah. I'm libertarian.
Fair enough. So we can have a discussion on that. But this idea of democracy and capitalism, okay. So it kind of, we can go back to, Athens and Rome, et cetera, and the Senate and the city-states and the votes, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. But the system that we more or less have today in the West bubbled up on this island in the North Atlantic with their friends over in the Dutch Republic. And it kind of bubbled up there, and then it came over to the United States, and it grew and expanded, and now it's all over. But it's only about 400 years old. And when you look at the history of mankind, if recorded history of mankind is, say, 10,000 years,
okay,
400 years out of 10,000 years is not that long.
I agree.
But it's very thin and it's very fragile. And here's the key thing. It's not natural. It is not natural to human nature to have what we're talking about here, this democracy and capitalism. It is what is natural to mankind is the strong ruler.
Jesus Christ.
Well, ultimately, yes. Jesus Christ is, yes, of course.
We need a ruler who is ready to sacrifice for ourselves. So institution.
Yeah.
Christian church, Christianity, for 2,000 years. Good leaders, bad leaders, good holy fathers, bad priests, but the church stands still.
Right. And the church is the body of believers. It is. We have our institutions. We have the Macedonian Orthodox Church. You have here, and you have the Methodist Church. You've got, the Catholic Church, etc. So those are, but they're made up of those institutions are made up of the church. The church is the body of believers, whether they're Orthodox, Protestant, Catholic, or non-denominational.
So the body of the institution in one state is based on the citizens who need those institutions.
Right.
We need the church.
Right.
So the church stands. I am the leader of the church. Now I'll die. The church goes on like nothing happened.
Right.
And that's the beauty of it.
Exactly. That's like you just said it correctly. That's a strong institution.
That's the strong institution.
Yes.
And hold for 2,000 years.
Right.
So on the West, United States, they have a bad president. They have a good president. By the society survives one way or another.
Right.
Ups and downs. But we saw countries like they're falling apart if the leader is gone.
Right.
And it's terrifying. So I don't have nothing against Russian, Putin, and Russian politics and the people. and I'm very happy because they live good. They say that Putin gives them prosperity, good life, etc., etc. But will it work after Putin? It will happen after 20, 30 years. United States will stay. But what will happen with Russia? Can they find another strong leader? Because Slavs people, we need leadership. We want leadership. We admire strong leadership. On the West, comme ci, comme ça. But after Trump, we saw that American people also need a leader who is strong, who believe that doing for them and for the whole country. So the changes are global.
Right.
People need strong leaders because they know they have a strong institution. Strong institution will rise what people need. That's the problem. We are too small to be in that pot of primordial soup to rise up new DNA, to rise up something we need.
Right. I understand what you're saying, and I think, yes, strong leaders are necessary. But going back to my earlier point, strong institutions are more important than strong leaders, because to what you just said, strong institutions last year after year after year, no matter if the leader is good or bad, or the leaders of the institution, because they're all human, we're all fallible, we're all sinner, we're all fallen. The leaders can be good, they can be bad, but the institution continues because of the strength of the institution, because of checks and balances and things that have been in place to give that institution strength. So the leadership is good. I mean, strong leaders are good, but strong institutions are better. The other thing I should mention, because this is a real problem, I think, in America today, and probably in Macedonia and elsewhere, is that politics has become entertainment. We don't need entertainment from our politicians. We have Netflix and HBO and Amazon Prime and Disneyland and 1,001 other things. We don't need entertainment in our politics. We need them to do what is right for the country, for the people. And yet it's an entertaining blood sport that people like to watch. So that is part of, I think, one of the problems, especially in the West today.
Just a second. Марко, ворете со звукот? Окей, продолжуваме. Ја да ви се извинам, почитувани гледачи, заради мојот англиски. Не очекувајте од мене, мојот англиски е индијанско-англиски, или ја како што им се извинувам на соговорниците мои, sorry for my broken English.
Your English is perfect.
Yes, perfect. Please don't mock me. Thank you very much. But ние го снимаме овај интервју затоа што после ќе го ставиме на YouTube, бидејќи говориме на англиски, ќе YouTube фантастична работа и да се ја сакате технологијата, YouTube, чиј е на Google, ќе произведе англиски титли. И емисијава, кога ќе после 2-3 дена, ќе биде титлувана на англиски, а после тоа ќе може auto-translation на македонски и така да се емитува. Малце го, I explained what we talking before we started. So tell me, beside your hope, I know that you have high hopes for Macedonia, because at least I understand you. You know, whatever we do wrong, St. George will come down from the heavens and will take us and save us. Whatever we do. So we need to have high hopes and belief in God, because we are God creation like everybody else. If God decides to disappear, thank you, God. If God, He will split the sea on a half to save us. We see that, we believe in that, so no worries. But the worries is what to do. What's the best? Set aside your hopes and beliefs. what do you think what will happen in Macedonia? In 2024, Macedonia will finally get rid of this party, Sadasama and Dui. What is your opinion? What will happen? What is the scenario? What will happen next?
That's a big question, Janko.
But it's very positive, you know. This government will fall down. Thank you. Finally. Sorry.
That's what the polls.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. That's what the polls look like. Then the question, of course, becomes, because this is a parliamentary democracy, whether or not if Vomero were to get the greatest number of seats in parliament, can it then form a government? I don't think it's going to get 61 seats outright. It might get 50. It might get 55. But then it has to form a coalition with the smaller parties.
Okay.
And as we know, then of course, if it's one of the Albanian parties, they're going to ask for quite a bit. So it really depends. That's on the parliamentary side. On the presidential side, I'm not so sure, because I'm not even sure if Stevo is running again. I don't think he's made up his mind. I know Oliver Spasovski wants to run. So
on second half of February, he will
make a decision.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I cannot breathe until then.
Please do.
Speculate. You don't have to be right. You know what you think.
I'm
what
generally
will
not
happen.
right. So
okay, 55 seats.
54, 55 seats.
54, 55.
Yeah.
You know what I told to Vomero and to Ilkovski? I told him, don't wait for the parliamentary to have a 55 or 50. If polls are not, now the polls is 2 against 1 in the favor of Vomero Dopamane. And that's very good.
But what are the undecideds?
No.
Okay.
For me, after these 8 years of criminal and injustice and all those killed people in Macedonia and everything bad happened, if the polls are not 3 against 1, if I'm Ilkovski, I will say no, thank you and fuck you. Let rule them another 4 years. I will not candidate until I say until I see full people's consensus that they're not for me but against this government.
Right.
I cannot understand, even if you are Sadasama. In Sadasama there is a lot of honest people. How can you live with this criminal? It's good for you and for your party to fall down, because first thing, when the criminal party fall down, the criminals are running. The good people will stay and fight for the party. And they will rise even better, even stronger. The history shows that.
I think you bring up a good point, because for both parties, Sosam and Vomero,
Okay.
they can't take for granted the fact that they exist, and they have existed for a long time in one form or another. Vomero traces its roots back to 1893. Sosam traces its roots back to, well, they were called the League of Communists of Macedonia before 1991. And they've existed in that form since then. But look at our next door neighbors in Greece. PASOK was the ruling party for decades, or it traded places.
With Nea Demokratia.
Yeah, New Democracy, in traded places.
Two parties on ruling forever.
Yeah, left and right. Standard left and right,
Yes.
etc. Where's PASOK today? Who's and now Syriza just lost, and New Democracies back in, and finally
yes, Syriza was a new player who was
totally
surprised everybody.
Exactly, out of nowhere. So I guess the lesson I'm trying to speak about is the fact that don't take for granted that the parties, because they've been around forever, will continue to exist forever. They may not, and that depends on. So to your point, would the party cease to exist, or at least become insignificant? It's happened before in the region, and you can find those examples all over the world.
So what's your prediction? What's your speculation?
For the election?
For the election and for the party's future, main parties. I mean,
Yeah, the two main parties. I think they'll continue. I don't foresee any one of them falling, ceasing to exist, etc. If it comes to just Macedonian interests
Mhm.
as Macedonians,
Mhm.
I would say that under this current government, Citizen has given away the whole farm, to use an English expression. They've given away everything.
Rephrase that, please.
Citizen has given away far too much power to Dewey.
Okay.
Right. Dewey is the de facto. It's not Citizen Dewey. It's Dewey Citizen.
Ние имаме малцинска влада.
Yeah. So, and the prime minister is not Koche or Tate. It's
Ахмети.
Ahmeti and Gruby at times. So,
Ahmeti is in a good health, so he will last pretty long.
Is he?
Is it?
I don't know.
Is it?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. So,
Really? You know something I don't?
I don't know if I know
I don't
something you
know.
don't. Nobody lives forever, Janko.
Yeah,
So,
nobody lived forever, and
No.
there is a God will. So
and I am not a smoker. Ahmeti smokes far too much. So,
don't hope on that, because the man who invented jogging, the Frenchman, died on a 54 years.
but it was of a heart attack, I believe.
Yes,
So, yeah.
on
So,
running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. So,
And Charles Bukowski, who was drinking, smoking, died on 84 years.
exactly. My great grandfather, a Hungarian immigrant to the United States, he didn't smoke, but he had he had a little bit of rakia every day. Lived to be 99 and a half. So that's my model.
Rakia.
Yeah. Or scotch or
Sorry, my microphone cable.
Oh.
Okay, I'll try
This is
not to move.
This is not quite live TV, but so these things happen.
We will acting like it is.
Exactly.
Yeah. I thought maybe to go for 1 minute on live stream on Facebook to say hello, but I don't know. I enjoy talking to you, and it's a very good opportunity. Not for the so. Let's conclude.
Mhm.
You believe in Macedonia,
Absolutely.
like country, like people,
Verovam
like
vo
culture
Macedonia.
that will survive, and sometimes in the future we will prosper.
You will. I see Macedonians prospering even now. And I'm not talking about the government.
Yeah,
I'm talking about individuals.
individuals.
So, yeah.
So
I believe it,
thank God.
but it does take, as I said earlier, you have to go back to hope, and it takes action. It takes positive. It takes an action on behalf of individuals. It takes courage to do things, to act. I believe it. I've seen it. I've seen it now. I've seen it in the past. I know I'll see it in the future.
People when they call me in the show and they ask, there is nobody to lead the people, but for certain, I know that one country, when I was in crisis, there was not a leader who rise up revolutions, or there was a people. From people the leaders arise. So I think that people instinctively will react, and when they ask somebody to lead them, nothing will change. Don't like our Macedonian in 1941 in Prilep, there was a rise up against Bulgarian fascistic occupators. There was no call from Tito or from Cento or from Delchev. I making irony, of course. There was no leader who called. There was a bunch of people brave to break into the armory, to steal, and to start the fight. Couple of people. Leaders, we learned them couple of years later who were going with them, work with them, fight with them. Leaders are born from the movement of the people. I'm not believe that people are leaders can make those changes, massive reaction, people's movement. People's movement give a birth of the leaders. That's my opinion. That's my opinion.
Sure. Yeah, they have to come from somewhere, and they come from
And they can
people. Yeah.
come alone. Listen, people, there is a hard time upon us, so follow me, I will help you. Nobody will follow. We have to feel the pain. We have to feel that we are strangled, that we are suppressed, and then real leaders will rise. That's my opinion. Everybody, everywhere. I think that changes, parliamentary changes, and changes of the shift of the power in Macedonia would be very, very, very good, because this level of criminals, I don't believe that those people who are preparing now to take the leadership are even capable of minding such a criminal, which they're lying and stealing for them. For those now is like breathing. The prime minister lied to us, this minister before. It was like, no, there will be no change. Lie. No, it was unbelievable for politicians to say such a lie, and it passed. No problem. It was like breathing for them. Breathe. Normal. Everything is normal.
Right.
I'm lying, okay? There will be no changes in the constitution. And now it's okay, so what?
Yeah, that's become
It was unthinkable
right.
for our people. So I think that there is a good hope after May, 8th of May.
Yeah. But again, it's not just what you just described, politicians lying. Number one, that's not new. Number two, it's not limited to Macedonia. It's happened throughout history and throughout all of the world, and it will. So I think here's a something to think about that maybe perhaps your viewers will
Yes, please.
think about. So my favorite founding father and our second president was John Adams. And he was quite a character as an individual. And he said, our Constitution, meaning the American Constitution, is for religious and immoral people. It is wholly inadequate to any other. Meaning, our Constitution works if the people are moral and religious. Fair enough. My question is, when the people are no longer religious or moral, does the Constitution work anymore? I think the answer is no. And I think that's the same for Macedonia. I think you actually have a constitution in place. You've got a state. You've got a history. I only think it works if the people are religious and moral. That doesn't mean that they have to worship. They have to be a member of the Macedonian Orthodox Church.
Moral compass.
Yeah, exactly. Are the people, my question then is, are the people here, my question to my own people, the Americans, is, are my people religious and moral? Or have they abandoned all of that? If people abandon that, nothing's going to work.
Soros ideology ask for their followers to get rid of everything, what was humanity, what was religious, what was ideology, to refuse everything.
Yeah.
Even their nature.
Yeah.
To refuse the nature.
Yeah.
So what do you expect from such a people?
Yeah.
What moral?
One of my favorite thinkers and writers is the British author Douglas Murray. Now, he says he's an agnostic, but he was raised in the Church of England. So he was raised knowing the truth, knowing Christ. He says he's agnostic. He says he doesn't believe. Fine. I still pray for him. But here's what an agnostic says. Douglas says, we are all created with a God-sized hole in the middle of our hearts, and it can only be filled with God. It cannot be filled with anything else. That's an agnostic saying that.
It's very good to think about it.
Yeah.
It's very interesting because we believe, you and me, that we are creating in a God's image.
Mm-hmm.
And after the fall, we are searching for home.
Right.
There is a terrifying news that coming from United States, and I don't know. Let's go to the southern border. I see statistic that in Obama time there was. I'm not so sure for I'm not
numbers.
prepared
Mhm.
for those numbers. Let's say 50,000 refugees across the border.
Mhm.
During the time period of Donald Trump,
Mhm.
there was a 40,000,
Mhm.
10,000 less.
Mhm.
In Biden's administration, the numbers are tripled, and there is reports from the respected news from the United States. They show us rivers of people flowing towards the. Ĝeјson, even if I try to enter,
Mhm.
like I am,
Mhm.
a gentleman of a high class,
Mhm.
like I am, beautiful, smart, to enter United States, I will be thrown like a brick.
Mhm.
Where is my visa? Where is my status,
Mm-hmm.
etc.? You cannot even come close.
Right.
But if I swim, get a little darker,
Mhm.
go across the border,
Mhm.
they will help me and give me everything I need.
Right.
Is this true?
Great question. So a couple of things. I don't know all of the numbers, like you said. I don't have my notes in front of me. I do know that in the past year, the number of illegal immigrants coming into the United States has averaged about 10,000 a day. So that's not quite. So let's just call it 3 million a year. That is a gigantic number. 3 million illegal immigrants coming into the United States. The majority of them are coming in just to work. And they say that. Okay, fine. My heart goes out. Anybody who's human, who has a heart, your heart would go out to people who are coming from poor countries and they
Okay.
just want to work for their and earn a living for their family.
No problem.
I have
with
no
that.
problem with that. However, in order to be a sovereign country, you have to have laws and you have to have rules and you have to have a border. If you don't have laws, rules, or a border, you cannot be a sovereign country. And it is the people of that sovereign country that get to determine what those rules, laws, and the borders are. And we have made a determination in the United States of America as to what those are. And one of those things is, if you're coming from a poor country, our heart goes out to you, but you can't just walk across the border and go find a job and work. We have a process. We have a system. Furthermore, if you are coming for asylum, and again, I don't know all the details on this. I'm not a immigration attorney or anything like that. But you have to apply in the first country that is considered safe. That's where you apply for asylum. And I believe Mexico is one of those. Second, just in the last
Mexico is what?
safe country.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So
there
you,
is
you
no
have to-
war.
yeah.
There is no totalitarianism. There is no.
Yeah, no, it's safe. You can apply for asylum
Okay.
there. So you can't just come into the United States.
Came to the United States
Yeah.
because of the economic reasons. I
Yeah.
understand that.
Yeah.
To work. Okay.
Yeah, but you're not allowed to do that under our laws. You have to apply and then do it the proper way. And we have a number of visas that we give, work visas that we give out every year to individuals based on certain criteria, et cetera. But we can't just let everybody who's poor in the world into our country. We'd be overwhelmed. Number two, in the last 11 months, 31,000 Chinese nationals have come over the border into the United States. The vast majority of them are single adult males.
Uh-oh.
Now,
what does that mean?
you know, Xi Jinping is the head of the Communist Party of China. He's the head of China. He's an authoritarian. He's a dictator. He will use every tool in his bucket, every trick that he's got to thwart his enemies. And while we might smile and shake hands, Joe Biden and Xi Jinping, and play nice, etc., ultimately we're rivals. We're competitors, but we're rivals.
No. Final conflict is between USA and China. Russia
Probably.
is not the main problem of the United States.
I mean,
it's the China. It always been.
Yeah. I mean, to those that admire Russia, I hate to tell you, Russia plays second fiddle to China.
Yes.
So
yes,
that's just the way it is.
That's my analysis.
Yeah.
Russia is the least problem for the NATO and for the West.
Yeah.
They need them to put in place so what's more. Their military power to go somewhere else, not to go to the China. China in this moment.
Oh yeah, China is our biggest enemy.
Have 1,700 or 17,000 planes around Taiwan.
Oh yeah.
So Ukraine, Israel, Iran, it's the minority of the problem. The main conflict will be there. I believe that the great and direct conflict between China and USA will be around Taiwan. China will do that when he's enough strong, and now he is very, very, very strong.
Yeah,
very strong. But
anyway, but on the back on the border, the border. So the borders.
Why
a huge problem.
They're doing that? Why they're letting so much illegal immigrants? I understand why the Europe do that. He cannot control. But I have some answers about it, and I want to hear from you to tell my theory.
Yeah. Okay. Great. No, there's a couple of reasons. I think one, there's actually businesses in the United States that want illegal immigrants to come in so they can pay them cash under the table, and they can pay them cheaper, and they don't have to report it, etc. So that exists.
Okay.
Even though there's laws in place that say you can't do that, and they're meant to stop that. Number two, there are actually politicians in the United States that believe that illegal immigrants come over, eventually they'll get citizenship, and they'll vote for their party. Most of these are on the side of the Democrats. That isn't necessarily true, however. If you look at demographic trends, and if you look at Hispanics, and I hate saying that because you can't just say there's an Hispanic voting bloc. Okay, if there's an Hispanic voting bloc, who's the leader of the Hispanic voting bloc? There is no leader of a Hispanic voting bloc. There's Mexican Americans, there's Venezuelans, there's Cubans, there's Nicaraguans, there's people from all over what we call the Hispanic bloc, and they all have different agendas. Cuban Americans are very Republican. Venezuelan Americans are very Republican. Others, not so much. So you can't just,
I saw the picture of proud Venezuelans who are born Texas.
Yeah. So you can't just assume that. But there are some politicians that want illegal immigrants to come in because eventually they think they're going to be voting for them. That's just not true.
But you have a congresswoman who asked all the schools, the children are removed from the schools for the illegal immigrants, and with the overwhelming the schools, now the hotels are full. That's what I'm reading. And now she asked, this is out of mind, ask the people, the citizens of their state, to receive the immigrants in their homes.
Yeah. They're even, actually, I saw a news report today.
Is this true?
They're in Chicago O'Hare Airport. They've cordoned off part of the terminal where they're putting bedrolls for them to stay. So the good news is, there's good news in this, actually.
Okay.
So when Governor Abbott of Texas and Governor DeSantis of Florida, and formerly Governor Ducey of Arizona, but now we have a Democrat governor. But when these governors are taking these immigrants, and they're asking them, these illegal immigrants, and they're asking them voluntarily, would you like a one-way bus ticket or a one-way plane ticket to Chicago, to New York, etc.? They say yes. It's all above the board. It's all legal.
Okay.
And now the Democrat mayors of Chicago, New York, etc., are saying, we can't deal with this. This is horrible. We need the federal government to step in. Well, thank you for paying attention, finally.
But let me remind you of one of the cult movies, the greatest movie production
Good. Now
in
we
the
get
world.
Now we get into pop culture again. So.
Yes, because there I find historical accuracy for what happened today. You know, Democrats are not original. This is not original. This is some historic roots. The Gangs of New York of Martin Scorsese. Do you remember that movie in the early 2000s?
I know the movie. I've never actually seen it.
So I recommend it. And there is a scene. The country is torn on a civil war. So there was even bombing on New York because there was a protest and the government of the state said to bomb from the ships to bomb the New York to those who opposed for the war or for the registration or whatever.
Right.
And there was a scene where the ships full of immigrants from all over the world are coming. There is a party representative who gave him money and paper and asked them to vote for them. So that's the historic fact in the movie. Very interesting, very dramatic, very heavy movie, but very informative, very good for watching. It's an artistic movie. Yeah. So today, why this happened? Simple question. Simple answer is to get new voters. Democrat knows that real American who love their country, who respect their country, will never respect politics which are based on a support for minority, LGBT, trans, or whatever, which I don't have any problem for them, but cannot put them on a pedestal as the most important thing in the society.
Right.
Why they're doing that? That's the other question. Maybe round table. But point is that import and they give free pass to illegal immigrants to vote for the Democrats. Illegal immigrants. Who received me? Who let me in the United States? Democrats. I'll never gonna vote for the Republicans because the Republicans are based on patriots, people who love United States and love the country and for everybody and to prosper. This is some other agenda. Some other agenda. They did this to our country, to European country, but Europe didn't let them to get vote. Not yet. They're not capable.
Right.
But there is a asking now, even openly, that's out of mind, even openly, all the migrants in the United States who enter, just as enter, to have a right to vote.
Yeah, well, they don't now. So just if they're coming here illegally, they don't have the right to vote. That's number one.
At this moment.
At this moment,
And
correct.
it doesn't mean that will change because
Correct.
there is a discussion between senators, between congressmen, who asking for each country, states separately to give them a vote. What they are doing to Donald Trump, one state, no, you cannot candidate in this country. You cannot be on a vote.
Colorado and Maine. The Supreme Court will strike that down.
Yeah.
I promise you. So
We'll
yeah, they're going to hear the case on February.
God.
They're going to hear the case on February 8th, and they'll strike it down.
So, what's your opinion? This illegal immigration is only for political reason because staying on the power of the Democrats will depend only of the ignorant people to vote for them.
Yeah, it's partly on that. It's partly business. But again, I think, as I mentioned earlier, I think it's wrong because of the different, you got Cuban Americans, Venezuelan Americans that are very, very much Republican. You can't make the assumption that just because somebody has dark skin, they're going to vote for the Democrats. You know what that's called? That's called condescending. That's called racist.
Condescending?
Condescending.
What
You're looking
means
condescending.
condescending?
You're looking down at somebody and assuming just because of the color of their skin they're going to vote this way or that way. But ultimately it's racist.
I sound racist.
No.
I apologize.
No, not you. This is politicians who say,
I identify
Hispanics,
myself as a black rapper.
You can identify yourself as a black lesbian woman, Janko.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. God bless me. USA, please finance me.
You get all kinds of rights with
Yes.
that. So exactly. So unless you support Israel, and then all your rights are taken away. If you're a black lesbian woman and you support Israel, sorry, you can't do that. Then you're bad.
I have a feeling that United States consensually support Israel.
The government does, yes, and most people do as well. But our friends on the left, for whatever reason, don't support Israel. They support Hamas, essentially. They support Hezbollah. They support Iran. They support Islamic Palestinian Jihad. They support the Houthis. For whatever reason. And this is the thing. They don't even know what they're doing.
Of the Soros ideology.
It's part of that, but it's part of that. It's much more. I mean, the funny thing is, you've seen the videos from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Kids shouting this.
Sorry?
They don't even know what they're talking about. They don't know what river or sea they're even talking about. They don't know that it means genocide for the Jewish people.
Yeah, they forget what happened.
They don't even know what happened. They didn't forget what happened. They don't even know what happened. They're ignorant of history.
What will happen with Donald Trump? The polls are in favor of Donald Trump, and that's very surprising. So why is that, and what will happen with him? He's very, kako se vika, tvrdoglav na engleski. When your head is very tough and you don't change your mind and you.
Oh, it's stubborn.
Stubborn.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
he's very stubborn.
Yeah.
This is something what I don't like in him, but everything else is very good for me. So, your opinion? What happened on a political scene now for Donald Trump?
Well, first of all, taking a step backwards, I think this is the it's just kind of Happy New Year. The United States is going to have a constitutional crisis this year, and nobody knows what to do about it. So,
what does mean constitutional?
So, what's going to happen is. So right now, there are 119 indictments against Donald Trump in 4 major cases in different jurisdictions around the country.
Okay.
Some of the trials have started to take place. Others are scheduled to take place. At the law of averages says that one of those indictments he's going to be convicted on. So he's going to be convicted on at least one of those, I'm pretty sure. Again, I'm not an attorney. I don't know.
Okay. Just tell me. We are not. We don't know everything.
Yeah, but
he was against what? Rioting.
There's it's manipulation of state election officials, various things. So, but let's just say, for argument's sake, that he's just convicted on one of the indictments. So that means he becomes he's convicted. He's guilty.
Okay.
So. Automatically, of course, his lawyers appeal, which is his right.
Okay.
But then he's convicted. Then you have, like you mentioned, it was the cases you mentioned were Colorado and Maine, where the Secretary of State. So in our 50 states, the federal government doesn't control the ballots, the printing of ballots, and things like that. It's very divided. As I think you mentioned, you kind of like that idea of the division that we have. But it's the 50 states, the 50 secretaries of state that determine. Who's on the ballot, the dates of the primaries, etc. The very few things about our elections in the United States are regulated by the federal government. One is the time and place of the elections for federal representatives and for the president. But most of the elections in the United States are not for those offices. They're for governor, state offices, state legislature, state senate, city, county, all those thousands and thousands of people.
Not for the president only.
Yeah, not for the president only. So, but anyway, so going back to the example.
You have many lists for many names of many parties who will vote for ambassador, for secretary, for senator, for etc. this is all together.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
so let's just say though that one of those secretaries of states that controls that process
Okay.
looks at Trump and says he's a convicted felon. His name can't be on the general ballot. There's a primary and there's a general election. The primary ballot, for instance, let's just take an example. So let's just say for fun, we've got Trump, DeSantis, and Nikki Haley. They're on the primary ballot in, say, Arizona, my state. So Republicans they vote in the primary, which in our case, I believe is in March, and they check one of those 3 boxes. And then based on that election, either Trump, Nikki Haley, or Ron DeSantis then goes on to the general ballot in November. Okay? Follow? And that happens in all 50 states. Yeah, it's not as simple as
No. One of the most complicated elections in the world you have.
Yeah. So let's just say we have our primary election in.
So there will be preliminary election.
Yes, for the parties. So the Democrats have theirs, the Republicans have theirs.
For the parties.
Yeah.
In the parties.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then but let's just say that in Arizona in March, I think it's in March for our primary.
So if he pass party in the party,
mm-hmm.
if he on the top,
then he's going to be on the general election ballot in November.
But what if the general said that he is convicted?
Correct. This is the constitutional crisis.
This is the
right.
I understand that now.
So the Secretary of State says no, he can't run because he's been convicted. What if he's got 2 convictions or 3 convictions in multiple jurisdictions, multiple places of the country? This is where it's going to get really, really messy, really, really
because
quick.
There is no precedent.
Yeah, exactly. It hasn't happened before.
Hasn't happened before. So who will cut this Gordiev knot?
Probably the Supreme Court.
Supreme Court.
Yeah.
How's the power shifting there?
It's 3-6 conservative.
6-3
conservative.
60 conservative.
Yeah.
But even Trump is.
But you don't want your justices ruling on party affiliation. You want them ruling on the rule of law.
On the rule. Yes. I understand that.
But so anyway, and these are brilliant legal minds. They will figure it out. But you got to remember, the parties, just like here, are private organizations. They're not public. Well, maybe here they are public, but in America, they're private organizations. They're private entities. It's like a business.
Okay.
So it's their right to determine who goes on the ballot for their primary, the pre-nomination thing.
I think it's same here.
Okay, yeah. So it's up to the parties to determine. So that's why I think in the case of Colorado and Maine, the Supreme Court will say, well, number one, the Secretary of State of Colorado said Trump is guilty of an insurrection. Well, no, he hasn't been convicted of that, so you can't keep him off. So it's a very interesting legal theory behind this idea to keep him off based on what happened on January 6th.
So how do you, what do you think, why the Trump is so strong on the polls? It's very difficult for one president who lost their power one way or another to get back.
Right, true, yeah.
But Trump is even stronger.
We live in a strange time, Janko.
Do people are maybe perceive that taking down the Trump of the power was illegal, was manipulating, and this is the reaction of the people more than their favor in Trump as a more capable?
Yeah, I think that's part of it. Although, here's the funny thing. Most Americans, not party activists, just American voters, don't want to see Biden run for president and don't want to see Trump run for president. Well, that's what's going to happen. They're both going to be, God forbid one of them dying, they're both going to be on the ballot in November running for president of the United States. But most Americans don't want that. But our system is set up in such a way that the parties get to decide. There's a very weird system in place that allows the parties to decide who gets on the ballot, and it's based on populism, not on leadership.
What's your opinion? What's the idea behind the Biden? Behind the Biden, why they favored the Biden so much. He's poor, old man. He have
He's no longer
issues. No, I mean
Yeah,
poor
yeah,
as a poor soul.
Yeah, right.
Christian
Yeah.
statement.
He ran in 2020 based on the fact that he was not Donald Trump. And he said, I'm going to restore normalcy to America. That's what he ran on. But the thing is, he had a very narrow win, just as Trump did in 2016.
No, this is what I mean.
Mhm.
I mean, he has real health issues.
Mhm.
I mean, he's
Physical,
barely
cognitive,
conscious.
yep.
Cognitive, he's very, very. His son Biden, he's
Hunter,
such
yeah.
a criminal,
He's a sad, sad person.
and because of the Soros, they have manipulating the mainstream media, and everything is going like that. And Democrats voters are fanatic, and they will accept everything, everything. So, what's the idea of the Democratic Party to favor? Why not Kamala Harris take?
Oh, she's worse.
Yes, I know,
So
but she's more cognitive.
Yeah.
She can make more for their party.
Right.
We are not in favor now
Yeah.
for the, but just logically, we
Right.
are Democrats. Let's vote against
Yeah.
Biden. Remove. Let
Well,
this madam
yeah,
take the.
within just the Democratic Party, there's people like Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, Andy Beshear, the governor of Kentucky, charismatic, sharp, popular governors, and plenty of others within the Democratic Party who would like to run for president. Of course, the old joke is if your first name is senator, your first name is governor, you want to be president. That's just comes with the title. You think you're running for president. So there's plenty of capable people there. But they've all been shut out.
Why? By
Because
whom?
By the Democratic Party.
Why?
Because that's the way the system is set up.
System of what? System of Democratic Party?
The system, yeah, the Democratic Party is a private entity. It's a private organization. It determines the rules whereby the party faithful nominate a candidate for president.
No, I cannot understand. He lost the way of the stage. He lost what he say. He say such a gaffes internationally. Do they need really that, Democrats? Do they really need some insane old men to do something very sane? Those charismatic, do you think that they will be not capable to make such a bad and low moves like Biden did?
Part of it is the enormous power of the incumbency of the presidency. To be president,
Yes,
means you have a lot of power. Just forget the legislative ability and the policy, etc.
Biden is not capable to use that power for himself.
Yes, but just the trappings of the presidency. So,
but the people around him,
well, they all want to keep their jobs, number one. So, and they're gonna use their positions and their power to make sure that their boss, who keeps them in power, stays in power as well. And plus, they believe to whatever degree that they can manipulate him.
Yes, Katica Janeva, one of the journalists who was guested me. Why was Katica Janeva? Why was on CEO head of the state? She was
special chief prosecutor.
Special
chief special prosecutor.
She was a queen of Macedonia.
She was the darling of the internationals.
Because he said, because such a stupidity in their work cannot be achieved by the normal intellect people in their branch who is working for the law, by the law.
Right.
So they need a low-level human being who is not feed enough, not paid enough, so have priority to feed himself and to pay herself. So that's the reason why they choose such a person.
Yeah.
Not the real person who is capable to make a change in Macedonia to remove all the criminals. So something like
Yeah,
that
that's
maybe.
part of it. Yeah, there's many reasons, but that's part of it, certainly.
Do you think that illegal immigration can make a shift in voting in favor of Democrats in the next election if they allow them to
vote?
vote?
Well, no, that's not going to happen that quickly. So that's November. So that nothing like that can happen. It could work against them because the American people are sick and tired
Even
of a broken
the
border.
immigrants who are from South America,
Yeah.
who live legally, who pay taxes,
Yeah.
who are loyal citizens
Yeah.
of United States, they have their jobs are.
Yeah. Look, one of my brothers-in-law is Mexican. He was born in Mexico.
God bless
He
him.
was born in a house with a dirt floor, with electricity and no running water.
Can he make tortillas and taco?
No, actually, he can't.
Oh, damn.
But his mom,
I would like to meet
his parents came to America.
Yes.
And he grew up, went to school, went to high school, went to college. He's a certified public accountant.
Excellent.
He's very smart. He's got a
He's
wonderful
a real
wife.
American.
Yeah, yeah, and of course he's a conservative.
Because American is not the white people or the race or the
No.
American is.
It's an idea.
It's an idea. It's a man who respects law and who pay taxes. And I said, patriot, Macedonian patriot, is the man who is polite, who respects law in the traffic, who pay taxes, who pay bills. That's the Macedonian patriot. Not who sing patriotic songs or whatever else.
Right.
This is the Macedonian, and this is the citizen on every country. But
Yeah.
I understand Sadasama because they are not stupid. They know, like the Democrats, they know that normal Macedonian who hate criminal cannot vote for them, whatever favor they give it. So the main reason why they shift their power and they give all the power to Dui is because they stay on the power because of Dui, not because of the strong foundation of the Sadasama. No, because of the Dui. So that will be a very big problem. Dui is very comfort, and many photographs and many contacts of Madame Aguilar with Ali Ahmeti, which should suggest that after the election, the Vomara must work with Dui in coalition. And Christian Mickowski is very strong in his statement that he will not accept the criminals of Dui. So it will be a very critical moment, constitutional crisis in Macedonia too. You know,
They could be. Yeah.
because we give them very big rights in Macedonia. But political system said, I am from Albania, you're Macedonian, we win election, we have coalition.
Right.
We together defeat Dui. But Dui supported with the embassy of United States, European Union, said, sorry, we are biggest party of the. It's very good. Congratulations, you win, but you have the coalition with us.
Right.
You must. You remember what happened with Vamaro Dopamene, who won the election 2006?
16. Yep.
2006.
Oh yeah. Right.
They won with other party, Albanian party. And they have to remove.
Dewey
to
was
accept-
out for 2 years.
Yes.
Yeah, the DPA.
DPA.
Yeah.
And they have to go with
Right.
Dui.
Right.
Because it was command to Vamaro Dopamene.
That, but also partly because Ali Ahmeti and Dewey said, you know, the old Monty Python English joke. Nice little store you got there, Governor. Be a shame if something happened to it. And they do it, you know. Nice little country you got there, Gov. Be a shame if, you know.
Nice accent.
Yeah,
I like this accent.
So, yeah.
You got it very good.
Yeah. So I mean, this is, you know, even I've seen statements from Bujar Osmani recently, past couple of months, saying alluding, hinting very subtly to this idea of, if we don't get our way, they got guys up in the hills there. They got itchy trigger fingers.
Yes, that was then.
Yeah.
Do you think that have that power to destabilize and to go in the war conflict in Macedonia now?
I think they have the power. The question is whether or not
They will have support.
they will have support, both from the internationals and from the Macedonian.
Speculate?
No,
They will not.
no. But
That's
they'll
good.
threaten it. Yeah, but they'll threaten.
They will threaten.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Macedonians have relatively, we are scary, hungry, and
Stand up.
The stand up, it doesn't mean to go to the street. The stand up, Ĝeјson, means take your pen, they threaten you. They agree with them. They pay you. Take the money. They give you flour. Take the flour. They give you oil. Take the oil. And vote with your consciousness. Nobody can know what you are doing behind the curtain when you're voting.
Right.
And give them hell.
Right.
This is strongest than a bullet.
Yeah.
This is strongest to go and to fight with at RPGs.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is strongest.
Yeah.
Because they are losing power, they're losing everything.
Yeah.
They cannot gain power. They have to do kako se vika državen udar, state coup.
Yeah.
They have to do a coup. And if you do a coup, let me see who will support you.
Right.
Let me see, because maybe if any embassy try to support you, it will be president, and it can happen in their yard. Like European Union, what they do with Kosovo and United States, and when the Russian declare of Crimea independent, they said to the same thing what you did with Kosovo, we did with Crimea. So what's the problem?
Right.
They cannot solve that.
Right.
They made the president, and now they have it.
Right.
And that's the why I think that you are right, that they cannot get now at this point in the history and in time to get support for destabilization of Macedonia.
Shooting war. Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
shooting war.
Yeah. I mean, just to take a quick step back, what Ali Ahmeti looks at his constituency, ethnic Albanians in Macedonia, and what he says to them is basically, you people are stupid. That's what he's saying to them. You're stupid. Only I can take care of things for you, which is why you need to vote for me. That's a pretty rotten attitude. It's a condescending attitude. He's looking down on his own people.
He's acting like a godfather.
Yeah.
Yeah, criminal mind with some moral compass, let's say. But I agree what you say about him. He's very toxic.
Yeah.
Because he's prepared to take a shovel and to bury you in his yard.
Yeah.
For the greater good.
For his greater good.
Yeah.
His greater good.
His greater
The
good.
sooner he is gone from the scene, the better for everybody. The better for Macedonia, the better for ethnic Macedonians, the better for ethnic Albanians, the better for all of Macedonia's citizens.
What happened to Donald Trump happened in Macedonia in 2017. A couple of years later, same scenario, entering the Congress, Sobranie. So I'm more than convinced that was manipulated by organization like a Soros, not maybe precise Soros, but something like that, deep state,
Right.
And same thing happened to Donald Trump. Do you think that Trump did not foresee that, or there is no cure for such a revolution like there is now in Serbia? The colorful revolution, which was here in Macedonia, is happening. It will take a couple of years, but sooner or later, he will fall. There is no good answer because they scare people for long time. This is not short term. This is long. In Macedonia, they convinced that Gruevski and Vomero are bad, totalitarian, they kill people, everything. It was a very heavy campaign which lasts for years and years until people, even those they didn't win on a regular elections, but they made to look like that.
Right.
Is there a good answer to such a devastating movements? Donald Trump didn't find the cure. We didn't find the cure. Serbians on the same path. So what's your opinion? How to go against such a movement? This is a very strong movement. This is a very evil, very masterminded process of control one country and to take the power with people who will work for you.
I think the answer, it's a great question. I think the answer, Janko, lies in what the poet T.S. Eliot said. He said, there are no gained causes, there are no lost causes, meaning there are no permanent victories, there are no permanent losses. It ebbs and flows, goes back and forth. I mean, what just happened in Argentina? Javier Milei. It's an incredible victory for...
Anonymous, nobody.
Yeah, just came out of nowhere and won.
Reaction,
Yeah.
the people, the rage against the system.
Yeah, they stood up and they elected him. And what he's doing is, of course, what he promised to do, getting rid of half the administrative offices in the state and cutting the public sector.
He's libertarians.
Yeah.
And libertarians says they have very smart.
Refused to join BRICS the other day.
Yes.
He's cutting the public sector. So my point being,
given the market more freedom than ever.
Yeah.
Because United States is built on libertarian principles in the golden age, 19th century, early 20th century, when government doesn't interfere in the industry, in everything. Everything was regulated by the
invisible hand of the market.
Yeah. And that is the reason what built the America to be great.
Right. Yeah. I know. I believe, as I think Ronald Reagan used to say.
Reagan.
Reagan,
very smart.
Praise be upon him. That the government does best when it does the least. So the government.
Say that again?
The government does the best when it does the least.
Government is not the problem for the current crisis. Government is the problem.
No. He said the 8 most terrifying words in the English language, or the 9 most terrifying words in the English language. I'm from the government, and I'm here to help you. So yeah. So, but it's the government. The government does best.
This is good.
The government does best when it does the least. In other words,
yes,
there's a very limited. There's a very limited number of things the government should do.
Do you believe that invisible hand of market can regulate itself in the terms of all the question we people needed? That is poverty, health, money.
This is Adam Smith's invisible hand. But I also think so. Yeah. So the government, the role of the government is to do should be to do things. Create a stable macroeconomic policy. Well, first of all, secure the borders, because if you don't have the borders, you don't have a state. If you don't have a state, you don't got nothing. Secure the borders, stable macroeconomic policy. Perhaps there's some healthcare education there. For us, it's different because we're a nation of 50 states. But for a smaller country like Macedonia, create conditions that allow for individuals to use their God-given talent and skills to create businesses, to create wealth, to create jobs, to provide for their families. That should be the role of government. Other than that, it's to stay the hell out of everything.
Interesting question is why big companies like the leftists, socialism. Socialism is...
I can tell you why.
Coming into on a big open door in the United States. United States was biggest enemy of the communism and socialism, and for the marketing, for the market society based on a market. But now it's very different. My opinion is that maybe company like Apple would like to eliminate all the concurrents,
All of its rivals.
and he will support the government with a lot of money, and the government will protect the company.
Exactly.
So this is the socialism.
Yeah.
And America is most important because somebody in his house, in his basement, create something, put it on a market, and succeed. This is not possible. It's very, very, almost impossible today. Almost impossible today because of protection from the government.
Protection from the government, which big business likes. So they use the power of the government to create regulations, to keep their competitors out, to keep them in business. And then, of course, as you just said, to go ahead and support the politicians that just wrote the legislation to keep their competitors out, to keep them in business, etc. It's kind of a vicious circle. So, yeah, well, that's not capitalism. That's
What?
cronyism.
What is?
Cronyism.
What is
Cronyism is the politician and the businessman, both with their handshake, I'll support you with dollars for your political campaign if you support legislation that keeps my business free from competitors.
So was the meaning of rise of the Kamala Harris? Kamala Harris is pure communist. The mayor
I'm not
of
sure she's a pure communist, but
yes, because she has a lot of money for a communist or socialist.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, a lot of politicians do. So yeah, a lot of politicians come into politics.
Rhetoric is very good for the ear of the people. Oh, we will tax big companies.
Well, if you,
I like that.
Yeah, no, if you listen to Kamala Harris, she does not come across as a gifted speaker, shall we say? So, yeah.
No, but it's terrifying that persons like her came to such a high on the power.
Yeah, true. I agree. But you look at her past record, her positions. She was senator. Before that, I think she was attorney general of California. I haven't followed her.
Somebody vote for her.
Well, it's California, Janko. California is a democratic state, so it used to be a red state. Now it's a totally blue state. So
the biggest kako se викаше предавство? Kako? I cannot hear him.
I can't either.
When you never mind.
Yeah.
Не можам да чујам. Never mind. Ми се блокирав, не можам на англиски мислам. I think on English, but I need a couple of months in the United States to run with the horses and to kill snake rattles to get flowing with the leg.
To be a complete cowboy.
Yeah, Marlboro Man. This is fat Marlboro Man. No, I am good for the salon, the owner of the salon.
There you go.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
Oh, what you want? Whiskey. There's whiskey. Go kill yourself. Shut yourself. The rise of the Elon Musk and the rise of the Jordan Peterson was the greatest moments in the last 10 years. Elon Musk shows not that he is a genius, he's a real successor of the Nikola Tesla, who was not only genius for invent, but also very deep person. I didn't know about Elon Musk because he's very, very capable, very smart, brilliant. But he also showed very, not religious, but it's very interesting and very deep, a love for humanity. And that's, I watched him and read him for a long time. How much is business related just for the um, proclaim himself to favor himself, but he's really concerned to throw 330 or 300 billions for Twitter.
42,
42,
44.
42 to throw away.
Well, I don't think he threw it away, but yeah.
He threw
And
away because now it's worth less than 10 million.
No, it's worth more than that. But
to set to the greatest advertisers like Disney, Bob, fuck you, fuck yourself. I cannot believe that. That's not just a boss. They're not hiding behind the money. That's a bold statement for everybody. It will echo in the subconscious of the many people.
Right.
Not to sell yourself, not to give yourself, to be yourself, to have an ideology, whatever you do. And he's doing great things, great things. And in this moment, I will trade Donald Trump, 2 Donald Trumps for one Elon Musk to take the power. I think he must to be a next president of United States, and it will be make great changes all over the world.
It would be great. He's not constitutionally eligible to run for president. So
Why?
he was
Because South American.
No. He's the most successful African American in America, South Africa. So he's African. He's African. So he's African American. So he can't run for president.
Really?
So, no.
Because
Schwarzenegger could never run for president. So
but he was governor of California.
Yeah, but to be president is a extra
obligation
to be born in the United States. Yeah. So it's a long debated.
Really?
Yeah, it's a long debated requirement.
I know what he will do.
So
he will reborn himself.
We'll see.
He will transfer his consciousness into a new body, and he will rise.
He might.
He might. Artificial intelligence.
Yeah, I mean, I love reading stories about. So look, we got to admit, Elon Musk.
I didn't mean. I really mean that he is able. I didn't know this.
No. Most people wouldn't. That's fine. So, but we got to admit, Elon Musk is slightly crazy.
Yes,
in a good way.
In a good way.
Yeah, but he's a genius in terms of creating
Nikola
profitable.
Tesla was also.
Oh yes, he was creating profitable companies. Yeah. So I enjoy reading news stories from our friends in the mainstream media saying that his empire is going to collapse. He's going to go broke. He's etc. Who knows? I mean, this is a man who has started many different companies
like PayPal, Tesla,
SpaceX, yeah,
boring,
and several others,
boring
companies, several others we don't even know about. He's extremely successful because now, and with the acquisition of X, it wasn't just his own money. He leveraged money of others to do it. You know why?
No,
because he's smart. It wasn't. He didn't put $44 billion on the table. He leveraged other people's money to acquire it. So.
The main reason is to save the freedom of speech, because he was very sincere, and this is true. The freedom of speech after fall of the Trump was almost gone in the United States. It was one-minded. It was very difficult to find opposition and free speech. It was because if you say something about LGBT, transgender, or whatever, you will be prosecuted until they broke you, until they throw you on the street.
Hey, we're not as bad as England. That's where they'll prosecute you in England. So for that, but no, it's not that bad. So not too many horror stories here. So the truth is there are a lot of center-right news media publications out there. So Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro is the co-founder of the Daily Wire. Jordan Peterson now is part of the Daily Wire. So it is a gigantic multimedia organization that is doing all kinds of great things.
Do you read Jordan Peterson?
Of course, I've seen him speak. So, yeah. So he's going on tour again, actually, starting next month.
Yes.
In America, he's coming to Phoenix, Arizona, in March.
He barely survived.
I know his history.
He he came to Belgrade
Yep.
to heal himself because of the psychological terror and pressure which he was put on because of his beliefs. And he's scientist. He's not philosopher. He's scientist. He's clinical psychologist
Yeah.
with 2 PhD, I think, two
That
or
I don't
three
know.
PhD.
Yeah. Okay.
So he's very smart, and he refused to work on a narrative, which is at the moment, but to work with the science.
Right.
And he was, you know what they say about Harvard now? Even the founders, the Harvard is so much gone that it's best to level to the ground, to destroy it total, because he cannot change and he cannot come back. The greatest contributors
They're pulling their money out.
pull the money
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
because it's gone too far.
Well,
The
that
students trying to be revolutionary, like for Hamas. I am convinced that they don't know what they support. It sounds good revolutionary for them, and they're shouting.
well, this is like the idiots that wear Che Guevara T-shirts, and they're wearing Che Guevara T-shirts, and
Che
they're
Guevara
shouting
is the-
LGBT,
the-
not remembering that Che Guevara shot homosexuals through the head.
Yes. Every Che Guevara ги убиваше хомосексуалците. Мета кучело. Шо
Yeah.
хомосексуалци данг.
Yeah.
А они носат сега тоа.
Right.
Мислам, се пародир, they made a parody of themselves.
Well, it's like the LGBTQ for Palestine. Yeah, you go ahead and take your LGBTQ flags to Palestine and see what happens to you. The last thing you'll see is when your head hits the ground after they throw you off the edge of the building.
Yeah, that the LGBT for a radical Islam. Do you have any sense, any cognitive
No sense.
nonsense?
Yeah.
In no sense,
Yeah.
in no sense, in no sense. What art
Nonsense.
of noise?
Yeah.
Art of noise. Do you remember when the Avalon album of Roxy Music came out?
1982, May.
1982.
May 4, 1982.
Do you remember clearly, or maybe 99% of the fans remember who was the president in 1992?
Ronald Reagan,
Yes, you remember,
of course.
but most of they don't.
No, I mean, how many were? A lot of them weren't born. Yeah.
Even who was born, they don't remember.
No,
they don't
they
remember
don't know-
who was governor of California.
They don't know history.
They don't remember who was the Ministry of Defense, Secretary of Defense. The music and the art stays. The politicians
They come
will
and
be
go.
forgotten.
Yeah.
That was Rambo Amadeus said on an interview. Do you remember Bielo Dugme album 1975? Yes. Šta bi dao da si na mom, what will you give to be on my place? Šta bi dao da si na mom mjestu, što bi dao da si na mojem mjestu? Da, vika, se sećavam. Da. A se sećaš koji беше premijer na Jugoslavia? Who was the prime minister of Yugoslavia at that time? No. So there is your answer.
Yeah.
The song remains,
The song remains the same.
and the politicians are
They
forgotten.
come and go. Yeah.
They come and go.
Yeah.
So we must ask ourselves, what is our priority? To follow the politicians and leaders at the moment? Yes, if they are of use for me. You know, you said something similar, but I think that is curved in the parliament of British parliament. There is no nema večni prijatelji, nema večni neprijatelji, postoji večan interes.
No
There
friends,
is no
permanent-
friends forever. There are no enemies forever.
Just interests.
There's interest forever. And that is very good. Because what is your interest? Good life, Jesus, love, family, wealthy of my country.
Yeah.
So
You bring up a very good point. I mean, I was just in the past couple of days that I've been here talking with friends about, and we can talk and we can dwell on all of the trouble in the world, whether it's Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Hamas, China, and Taiwan, illegal immigration, debt. Debt is a huge thing that nobody talks about for all of our countries. Radical Islam. You can just
When
go
you
to
say debt, what do you mean by that?
public debt for the government, So
Debt.
Debt, sorry. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
I heard debt.
Yeah, so there's that too.
Talking about that.
But you can
What's
talk.
the problem?
Yeah,
Go.
we can talk about all of
Jesus,
these.
welcome me, please. See?
Exactly, he will. We can talk about all these problems, but there's not a lot we can do about them on an individual basis. Somebody like you with your influence, with your viewers, you have a platform to do things. I try and do a few things. I can't do anything in the States. So the thing to focus on, in my humble opinion, is just what can you influence around you. And something we've kind of touched on back and forth throughout the evening tonight is, our family, our friends, our communities, those around us in the circle that we can influence, trying to have a positive influence, trying to be of help, trying to sacrificing ourselves for them in whatever reason. That's what we're called to do. That's what we need to do.
Are you ready to sacrifice for your children, for your loved one, for your country? Do you ready to sacrifice?
Right.
Do you sacrifice? Your life doesn't mean anything if you're not ready to die for him.
Right.
For
Yeah.
it. For
To
him.
lay down your life for your friend.
For your friend,
and your family.
even for your life.
Yeah.
You like your life? Do you prepare to die for your life? Yes, I am. To fight and to die. There is no greater Blade Runner 2049. There is no.
One of your favorites, I know.
Yes, there is no. Yesterday I quote here. There is no more human than to die for a higher cause. What is the higher cause? For me, is Jesus.
Amen.
But Jesus not as a person. Idea of everlasting love for everyone.
Yes.
I cannot love everyone, Jason. Right. I'm trying, but it's very difficult.
I hear you.
No.
Yeah.
I need to be a God.
Yeah.
And I'm called. Everybody is called to be to become gods, not to have superpowers.
To become like Christ. It's a better way of putting it, I think. To become like Christ. So
if I can achieve to love equally, I believe in his words that we are called to be a gods in some eternity.
to be with him.
Tell me about your religion. Do you have any active roles in your church? Are you a pastor?
I'm Macedonian Orthodox.
You are Macedonian Orthodox?
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought that you are
no,
maybe
that's fine.
on.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Do you when you became Macedonian Orthodox?
2014.
2014. And before that, what was your religion?
Actually, I wasn't a member of any church, but broadly speaking,
I thought that you are maybe Protestant. Sorry.
But not an actual member of any church. But yeah, broadly speaking, Protestant, evangelical. Yeah.
So, how that happened, and why?
To become Macedonian Orthodox?
But to be Orthodox.
Well, it's a great question. Well, there are two reasons.
We are one church. We can.
Yeah.
I don't like Macedonian church, Bulgarian church, Russian church.
Right.
One and only church in the face of God.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, body of believers. But so that's a great question. And part of it, I had been thinking for years. I thought, I have a lot of Macedonian friends and family, and we talk, and sometimes we talk about spiritual things. I said, if I was Macedonian Orthodox, if I could go to my Macedonian friends and say, you know what, I'm like you, I'm a member of the Macedonian Orthodox Church, and then tell them what I believe, what God has revealed to me, that might have a little more impact. That's number one. Number two was that one of my close friends here said, I'd like you to be the godfather of my youngest son.
Oh, excellent.
In order to be the godfather, I had to be a member of the Macedonian Orthodox Church.
Vlatko?
No.
Oh, sorry.
I'm not. No, I'm not going to say the name. But
okay. Sorry.
That's fine.
I thought that he's a public person.
No,
never.
No. This is somebody anonymous. So, but it said, thank you for asking me that, and that's why I did that. So, yeah. So, but in terms of role in the past, in the roles in the churches that I've been to, never had any formal role or anything like that, and that's fine. It's just and I encourage people to go to church, or if they can't go to church, to read the Bible at least. So it's important. That's how God communicates to us, partly.
Do you have spiritual father here?
The spiritual father, no.
Okay. My recommendation: find somebody.
Okay, thank you.
To confess.
Thank you.
For your personal process, it will ease your mind very much in a time of crisis, and it's very good. I understand. For a long time I thought, why should I speak to anybody about my interest? I can pray, I can say to the God, but when you talk to the person, at that moment, that person is not the person. That is God, and you talk to the God through his human form. Never mind how is he.
Right.
And when you have courage to speak freely and sincerely to the God, then starting the process of healing, because we are everybody hurt.
Yes,
inside.
absolutely. Yeah, and that's about what you're talking about is accountability. So being able to be accountable to somebody else and express your sins and your flaws and your failings. Yeah.
Any priest anywhere can do it for
Yeah.
you. But it's good to find a friend. Do you meet with Otec Metodi, who is bishop for Canadian American?
No, I have not. I mean, I rarely. The only time I get out of Arizona is to come here to Macedonia, or I've got a lot of friends up in Estonia and the Baltic countries. So.
He's very smart, very very modern in some way. Pop culture, music, etc. Very intelligent. Very intelligent.
Yeah.
And it will be great pleasure for you to meet him if you have a chance.
Yeah, I'll
he's
take that.
very good. Bishop Vladika.
Yeah. We actually have a Macedonian Orthodox church in Phoenix, Arizona. But I live in Tucson, so that's 170 kilometers. And there's no priest there right now. They're still in the process of building it. So at some point soon, hopefully, there will be a permanent priest, and they'll be able to have regular services.
When you can now confess yourself via Skype, via Viber. Yes, and that's good. I have my spiritual father here. He's sometimes there.
Yeah.
He can go in the monastery on a mountain for months. And I have need to talk with him because crisis or whatever. And like a telephone, why not? The person in person is
much
prerogative.
Better.
Yes, but why not use technology for a good thing?
Exactly. Yes. So.
Oh, Џејсон, very interesting year. Elections in the United States will be November.
Yeah, the first
year.
the first Tuesday of November, whatever that day is. I don't know, 4th, 5th, something like that.
Do you have weapon in your house?
I can't tell you.
Oh, okay. I thought that Second Constitution give you
Second
right.
Amendment. Yeah,
Second
absolutely.
Amendment.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're a strange people. We Americans. We're a rambunctious, disorganized, unruly group of people. We're weird. We have 500 million guns in the United States of America, more than there are people. Maybe 600 million. Who knows? And people often they point to the shootings that happen in America and say,
yeah, but that's the main reason why you are still free.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Because the army and the police will think twice before they're starting.
And if you look at the number of shootings in America where a gun is used to kill somebody, the majority of that is either gang violence, criminals, or sadly suicides.
Okay, they said there is no such a shooting in Europe, but Europe countries have wars. They don't have separate shooting for 10 people, 20 people. That's very, very rare. But they have a wars killing thousands and thousands and thousands. So ask yourself, if you can choose in this fallen plane of existence to have a worse or sporadic shooting, because you cannot make this plane at this moment without Jesus to make a heaven.
Right.
It will be second coming. It will be the apocalypse, but apocalypse doesn't mean destroying.
Right.
Now I understand. Everything which is blessed will be transcending,
Renewed. Yeah.
into the eternity.
Yeah.
Everything else, it's there is a book called the River of Flame. That is a symbol when bad people and people with sins see the Christ, and the purity of His light burdens left of the sins. What they remain, it will be you in eternity. That is an Orthodox book. I don't know who Holy Father wrote it. Ognjena Reka.
Okay. Send me a
I
link.
don't have it.
Well, if you can find it online, send me a link.
No, I cannot find
okay.
it. It
All right.
was 30 years ago when I read it.
Okay.
And the power of name. That's the power of Gospodи Isuse Hriste, pomiluj me mene grešnija. That is a monarch repetitive pray.
Okay.
My Lord Jesus Christ, bless me for I'm the sinner. Something like that. I'm sorry, I'm
no,
improvising.
that's right. I think that's, yeah.
So you have brojanica. This is practical use for the believers and for the monks to repeating that pray again and again. Even who, if the spiritual father says that you are capable, he will try to give 150 a day to make an inside dialogue, to start that pray to go on loop inside you, and to occupy your chaotic thoughts with name of Jesus Christ.
Amen.
And that will change you spiritually, physically, mentally. And there is issihast in the monasteries, which they very large brojanici. I don't know the English word for it. Da nego znaš brojanici na engleski? Ne. Which they're repeating all their life.
Yeah.
No, I don't need no thoughts of mine.
Yeah.
Only Jesus.
Only Jesus.
And
Yeah.
they sleep.
Yeah.
They're repeating. They're repeating. I tried. They started, and it's a little bit of scary, I must say. But that's the point.
Yeah.
Because I'm incapable of transforming myself.
Absolutely.
But I'm trying with the God's help.
Yeah, no, only with God's help. And so I appreciate that. I've developed in my own prayer life, not in using this, but just in repetition. So every morning when I get up, the first thing I do is I go into my living room and I get down on my knees and I pray.
That's
and
good.
I have different people groups, that I pray for.
I understand.
Mondays, I pray for all of my Macedonian friends by name. So I pray for you and your family by name every Monday morning. Then I go to the gym and work out. Then I come home and have breakfast. So, but the prayer is first.
Oh, that's a very good, because you have how they say. Never mind. I'm losing myself.
No.
Okay,
Yeah.
but let me tell you, this is the based on a 2,000 years, not from me or from some person, but from the Holy Fathers, who find the shortest, the safest, and most reliable way how to do things. You know, Jesus told us, how do we pray? Oče naš na nebesata,
Our
da se
Father who art
svet.
in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yeah.
So we cannot improvise that.
No.
That is that.
Yeah.
So, But we need something more in everyday life.
Yes.
So the Holy Fathers,
Mhm.
through their podvig, through their giving life to find the answer,
Mhm.
create this as a practical way to focus the mind, because
Yeah.
mind runs.
Mine goes all over the place. Exactly.
Not all over the
Yeah.
place.
Distracted.
Distracted
Yeah.
and
Yeah. No, it is.
bad thoughts.
Yes. Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
this is very helpful.
Mhm.
With that's the reason why you should read. It's a very small book.
Mhm.
It's a 30 pages small. You will read it for a half an hour.
Mhm.
The power of the name.
Mhm.
It's a for the Orthodox.
Mhm.
For our, it's very refreshing. It's very open-minded. It will very motivating.
Mhm.
Why do I do? What do you do when you do, and how to do it?
Right.
How to do it?
Mhm.
So, but in a more abstract or something like
Yeah.
that, read the scary
The other one.
Ognjena
Yeah.
Reka.
Yeah.
Yes,
River flame.
that's the main reason. Everybody, even the baddest and the worst and the best people, will face the Jesus.
We all
Will
will.
face the God.
We all will.
But His love,
Mhm.
His light,
Mhm.
His light
Mhm.
will burn all the flesh, all the rotten flesh from us.
Mhm.
So that's the reason why we need to try harder
Mhm.
to keep ourselves more. Because even the mass killer,
Mhm.
I believe he will save himself
Good.
if he could.
Mhm.
But what will left of him? It will be just a grain.
Mhm.
And I love myself.
Mhm.
I love Janko.
Mhm.
Janko is unique one and only in time,
That's true.
in history, and it will never repeat. Like Џејсон, Miko, never repeat.
Mhm.
And I will try to preserve myself.
Mhm.
That's the reason why I need help, why I fast, why I confess,
Mhm.
why I take communion.
Mhm.
Communion is the
Communion.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Communion. Mhm.
So when I fast it,
Mhm.
there will be a lot of burning.
Yeah.
There will be a lot of scars. But I want to protect a lot of myself because there is no greater gift to be me.
Yeah.
Everything else is, we love our child, we will give the life, everything. But at the final moment, you are alone with yourself.
Mhm.
You will love yourself the same at the moment. At that moment, if you love yourself,
Mhm.
the same love you have for the God,
Mhm.
for the Jesus,
Mhm.
you will be saved. And what is saved? I'm saved like a person.
Mhm.
My thoughts, my experience,
Mhm.
my personality, my soul
Mhm.
will be, most of it will be saved.
Mhm.
And that's the how I will exist in eternity.
Mhm.
And that's the very powerful thing what will motivates you to be good, to do good, to love, not to hate, not to go against God's will.
Mhm.
So it's very simple
It,
and it's
it,
very difficult.
yes, that's a great point. It is, and it's salvation is by Christ alone, and I find it fascinating since we're here in Macedonia that it was in the book of Acts, Acts of the Apostles, which was written by Saint Luca, where he writes in Acts 16:9, in the middle of the night, Paul had a vision of a man of Macedonia saying, "Come over to Macedonia and help us."
Ooh, I
And
know
so Paul, along with Saint Luca, came to Philippi, first place in Europe where Paul came to preach to the Europeans. And here's the funny thing about this, the vision that Paul had. He said, in the middle of the night, Paul had a vision of a Macedonian man saying, "Come over to Macedonia and help us." The first person he meets is not a Macedonian man, it's Lydia.
it's Lydia,
Exactly.
my wife.
But amen. But then a chapter later or something like that, Paul and his worker helper Silas were in a prison there in Philippi because of various things. And there was an earthquake in the middle of the night, and all the doors to the jail cells opened, and the prisoners walked out, and the jailer woke up and he saw everybody, and he was about to kill himself because he thought everybody had escaped. And Paul says, don't kill yourself. And the jailer says, sir, what must I do to be saved? Believe on the name of the Lord Jesus Christ.
Tell to the people of Macedonia, we fight because we are poor, we suffer. And everybody who is suffer, there was a meeting 20 years maybe ago. Maybe it's true, maybe it's somebody told me, I don't know. It's mixed up now for me. I'm in the 70s, deep. So, complaining how difficult life is in Macedonia, injustice, everything, and they listen to us. And they smile upon us. I said to them, do I entertain you? Do you find this amusing? No. Maybe yes. What do you mean? You're saved. You suffer. You really suffer. But because of that, you will be saved. Do you understand? The difficulties in you make you martyr.
Yeah.
And you are martyrs. So it's very difficult to see others when they suffer. And when I suffered a couple months ago with a great pain, I can tell you this, that I'm very grateful, but sincerely grateful for everything that happened to me.
Wow.
And to the people who said, this is a God's punishment to you, you deserved it, I said, amen, thank you very much. I give other leg to suffer the same if it's from him. If it's not my stupidity. And I'm sorry to the God what I did to myself.
Right.
But I not feel sorry for myself. I'm happy for the suffering. It's maybe with years you understand. When you're young, you're not prepared to suffer. You fight against suffer. That's good. To be liberal when you're young, to be experimental, revolutions. But how you're getting old, you're getting conservative. But conservative means accepting the truth, know the truth, feel the truth, because you walk the life.
Right. Right. Good.
So through this talk and everything you said, that you have high hopes for Macedonia.
I do.
Based on a hope, that is the most accurate thing that anybody said about this country. And I'm grateful for your company and to be my friend.
I'm grateful for your friendship too. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You have a knife. It looks like a Lord of the Rings. Is it? No, I cannot read it. But there is some scriptures on it.
You know what it says?
Maybe Jesus Christ something. No. 1993. Oh, sorry. Macedonia. 1993.
Republika Macedonia.
Republika Macedonia. Wow.
That's it.
One ring to rule them all. It was forged.
It was a 5 dinar coin, but I turned it
Really?
Yeah.
So, that's the messing very...
Yeah.
5 денарка ја претворил во прстен на кој пишува Република Македонија 1900. Why 1993?
Oh, that just happened to be the one I found. Yeah. So, but the important thing, it says Republika Macedonia.
Republika Macedonia.
Exactly.
Change this, motherfucker. It's curved on a ring of power.
Exactly.
Excellent. 10 years after that, when you saw the movie.
Yes.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. Have high hopes for the world. And I think that the best thing for the world will rise from the United States. Many people hate, and for the right reasons, because of their foreign policy. But I know they have the plata, they have a market which still allows the greatest man to thrive. You know, the greatest thing Tesla did is to leave this and to go to America. He suffered at the end, but the greatest inventions cannot be any else but in United States. All the legacy was created there. He knows. He was called to go there. He knows that what everything do best for the humanity cannot. That's how I see Jordan Peterson. That's how I see Elon Musk, and that's why I'm very interesting what happened in United States. You have responsibility for the whole world, and never press that red button.
Yeah.
So,
I appreciate it.
what's your message for Macedonians at the end to finish this?
My message is, number one, thank you for being my friend. When I first came here many years ago, it was because I wanted to stay because Macedonians opened up their homes and their hearts to me. Number two, there's hope. Okay? There's hope. But it requires courage and it requires action. It requires you or whoever, me, doing something about it. Not just sitting back and saying, oh, maybe it'll turn out good. It requires action. It requires agency. And that's good.
Even if it's mean to clean your house.
Start
to
with
educate
that. Start
your
with
people.
cleaning your house.
You will find something.
That's a Jordan Peterson. Clean your room.
Clean your room.
So.
But it is Orthodox. An Orthodox ask about ecology. Yes.
Yeah.
Ecology. First, clean your heart.
Yeah.
Then clean your home.
And then go out from there. Yeah.
It's very easy after that.
Yeah, exactly. Got to start somewhere. Good.
Thank you very much. It is a great pleasure and a great honor. Thank you very much for those encouraging words. We need to hear that.
We all need encouraging words.
Yes. And best regards.
Thank you.
See you in good health and everything for you and for your family.
Thank you, Janko.
Почитувани гледачи, тоа беше се за вечера. Благодарам за вашето внимание. Лека ноќ и пријатно.